All right. We're going to call this joint meeting to order with Evergreen. We'll start out with the mission statement. Go from there. Kings Valley Charter School will provide a rural, community-based education tailored to the individual needs and interests of each child, emphasizing the involvement of parents and the community. The goal of Kings Valley Charter School is to achieve academic excellence for all students through an individualized program. The environment of Kings Valley Charter School will promote self-motivation, responsibility, and a positive attitude. Next up is the agenda. So the agenda that was posted on Parent Square is out of date. In the packet is the better agenda. And Mark's got it up there. Mm-hmm. Any changes, additions? Anyone have any issues? All right.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We're going to move to public input. I appreciate all of the administrators being here, so thank you all. Anyone have anything to say? Anything? I imagine you guys are here for budget, but anything else? Okay.
Who's the K?
Everyone ready for the school year to wrap up?
Who's the K?
That's Tara Lee. She's on the Evergreen board.
Okay. That should know that for her.
I got it.
Not ready.
Me too, Will.
How do you want to work it, Will? Do you have something to show, or do you want to? I have some of your stuff.
Yeah. I have, a bunch of reports that I can show you, different, all kinds of different data. I've shared quite a bit of it, if not all of it, with Mark and also with Josh and John. I think I shared some with Ren too. So would you like me to just run through a few things with you and then you can ask questions, or I don't know what the most efficient or best way to do it would be for you guys.
However, Mark, it's your
For me, well, I'd like you guys to, I think that would be the best thing probably, Will, is go over kind of the highlights and then see if we can generate some questions here. And my main objective here was to make sure the boards had information from both companies.
Yeah.
And I put your report on staffing analysis, I think is what it's called, of the salaries and the different schools and what they were giving as raises in the next year, is in the board packet. And then I also put your document that had the staff analysis, like how many administrators and teachers per student.
Yeah.
That spreadsheet, although I modified that one, I added in Diana myself.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, it's the same.
I made a modified version of that as well. But good. Okay.
So that's what they have in their packet.
Okay.
Mark, I didn't see the head count. I showed in the packet the budget information, which I think you have up, and then the salary proposal. Am I missing something?
Maybe not. Copy staffing analysis is the other one
Okay.
that looks like that.
All right. I missed it.
Did we get a good estimate of number of students returning next year?
Yeah, that's in my information.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys would have, the stuff I would present is, you know, kind of where we are with enrollment right now and who's returning and that, and then what I'm estimating as carryover money based on the state's funding currently
Sounds good.
is basically what I have for you. Now, I don't know what's the best order to give it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll start with little stuff and we'll move on and get
Yeah.
out there.
Will, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'll do that. Since you guys have those documents, does everyone have those documents in front of them that I provided to Mark?
I've got a copy, but
I can put it up on the screen.
That'd be nice.
Okay. Yeah. Why don't you do the staffing analysis, and I can talk about that a little bit. You know, talk about some of the limitations to that data, and also, you know, answer any questions on it.
I'm pulling it up. Hold on. I'm clicking. Okay, I have two documents here, Evergreen salary analysis. And I have the copy of the staffing. Let's see if I can.
I'm thinking of the staffing analysis. It's a spreadsheet with a single sheet.
Okay, let me share
And I
that.
can share it if you want me to.
I've got it, I think, with those modifications. Okay, that should share it.
Can you increase the size?
Can I increase the size? That is a good question.
Okay, there's a zoom
It's-
button down there in the middle.
Right at the bottom center. There's
Oh, but it's not the other document.
You should be able to hit the plus.
nope, really strong.
no.
Really?
It's on the other document, I think.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. Mine's fine. My great driving.
You should be able to zoom in.
Okay, now I should be able to zoom in.
There we go.
Okay, it's up.
All right, so I produced one of these a few years ago just on my own because I thought it would be interesting to see, you know, as I headed into talking about budget one spring and salary for staff. You know, I wanted to see, are we efficient? Are we, you know, is Evergreen providing a good value? Are we you know, is our staff reasonable essentially when compared to other schools? So I went out and I looked at a whole bunch of publicly available data, and Mark asked me to do that again this spring, so I did. And I think, you know, every school's different. The population's different, the staff's different, the programs are different, the priorities are different. You know, there are schools out there. I think LC. I think it was LC, and also I think it was LVCS too. A few years ago, they had no paraprofessionals at all. They just didn't do that, and that changed. They added some since the last time I checked, and I think that makes sense because student needs are very high right now because of COVID. You know, that's put a lot of kids on the back foot when it comes to behaviors and learning. So I saw kind of an increase in general in staffing. And I think we're following that trend a little bit. In fact, definitely. But overall, I think we're in the ballpark efficiency-wise. We have a unique structure because we have, you know, Evergreen as a contractor, and none of these other schools have that structure. And when you have that kind of structure, there is a, you know, at least with our charter, there is a, you know, a legal need to have extra administrators that belong specifically to KVCS that have to be separate. We also have an issue of, well, you know, we've got two sets of books. It wouldn't really be appropriate for us to have a single bookkeeper doing entries in both sets of books. So we have 2 bookkeepers. So there's a couple things like that that I think inflate our administrative numbers a little. But if you take that into account, I think we're in the ballpark. So I'm confident in saying that we're okay and that we are comparable to other schools. But I'd be happy to hear, if anything anyone else noticed.
I guess, well, my question, the only thing that really jumps out at me is the raw number of teachers. And obviously PSD is kind of not something that we would compare to, but Fall City, Eddyville, you're looking at what, 20% more teachers? And I mean, again, it's a head count of 4, but it's still 20% more teachers for in the ballpark of the, similar enrollment. Am I off too much on looking at the data?
No, I find that interesting too. I do. Well, I will say I had to estimate FTE a little bit because I couldn't tell always exactly how much FTE each teacher had at those schools. So I had to look at their schedule and see, or look at the classes that they teach and make an educated guess. So they could be really close to us, but I think that the trend is clear that they do have probably more teachers than we do, more FTE. They do have more programs than we do too, though. So
Fall City is also a district that gives them. They have all the sped teachers and all that. I assume you didn't count in our sped teacher and aides either, right? I didn't.
no,
Anyway.
we have none of the sped teachers are in here because they are part of the district.
I guess that would be the same as LC.
Yeah. So we have 1 sped teacher, I guess.
But a 1 in 12 ratio is, it's interesting. It's better than Philomath at 1 in 15, but not as good as Fall City. I think we also know Fall City is struggling financially too. So there's that too. I guess we don't know much about the others.
I think for the programs that we have, we are adequately staffed teacher-wise. That's how I feel as a teacher. Other people might feel differently. If we add programs, then of course we need more teachers. But
Ren, did that answer your question about admin to non-admin?
It answers my question as far as comparable to other areas, which is awesome. Thank you, Will. It doesn't answer my question as far as ratio of expenses for true admin, not meaning just non-teaching staff, but head teachers, administrators compared to the other expense ratios for classroom teachers. So I just was curious, are we within a ratio that we feel comfortable with as far as what is getting paid out to administration and what is getting paid out to teachers?
oh well, our pay for administrators is dramatically lower than it is for any other district in the state that I know of.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, that's just not an area I have knowledge of. I just, want to make sure that we're being mindful.
And that can vary because in education, the traditional way to do it is to pay people by their years of experience. So one administrator who has 30 years of experience can completely skew a ratio.
Those numbers.
Yeah.
The salary charts are in the other document that Will produced.
Yes, they just
Which-
included,
Those won't have admins in them because they're not contract staff.
Oh,
I mean, they're not union staff.
makes sense. Okay.
Anyone else? Comments? Question?
Shall we look at the other document?
Sure. So I put a Word doc together that has, I think I called it salary analysis, KVCS site. Talks about the labor market in the state.
Mhm.
Has some other data and a proposal in it. These numbers on the state funding haven't been updated in a while, so I don't know where that's headed now, and that they're getting closer to the end of the session. Have you heard anything, Mark?
The 24-25 year is 10,880. So we got chopped $4 a kid there.
$4. Geez.
So you're close there. And then
Close.
the 25-26, that's still the only estimate out.
11 tutors on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a nice increase, but that's only $69,000. It's like one teacher salary.
Well, and the market cost of everything is increasing. So that's,
Yep.
yeah, you don't actually get to see the full value of that.
Oh no, definitely not. And that's by the time it trickles down to the KV, I'm certain it'll be quite a bit less than 5.5%.
And well, that's because the district's gonna take some of that from us, correct?
Yeah, the district, and a little bit will be lost here and a little there.
Okay.
For whatever purposes the state divines to be more important than Kings Valley Charter School.
I thought the analysis is pretty good.
Yeah.
Myself, just looking at what are the other schools doing in the area? And that's tough, right? I mean, Albany 4.5, PSD 3, Fall City 6.7, Central.
Yeah. And they're getting a step increase up above and beyond that for experience. So, that's usually average, I would say about 3.5%. So they'll get 3.5% for another year of experience, their current staff, and then they'll get this increase on top of that.
Of course, they're laying people off too to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are. It's true.
I think Albany for sure. PSD, I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't heard that they are. Dallas is definitely.
Salem did.
Yeah. They're still fighting it out too, is the thing. They're fighting it out. I think that's part of the game, is that they start giving out layoff notices and to scare the legislature and to give them more money. That's part of the dance.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess, that's, you guys got to decide if that's enough. I just want you to have a sense of it, right? That this is where they're going to come from, in terms of trying to get a good raise, right?
Yeah. And the message I really want to get across from Evergreen's perspective is that, yes, there's a context. There are other schools around, right? We can't ignore that. We're competing for other teachers, and it shows when you guys get lots and lots and lots of invitations to interviews, right? I don't know about you, but I got pretty sick of interviews after a while. It's like, geez, another one? Really? We got to interview more? I think that we know when we're paying enough and when we're competitive, when we don't have to do that so much.
Right.
When we're keeping people and when people want to work here and stay here, then we know we're in the right place salary wise, whether that's equaling other districts or not. I mean, that's how we know.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody here that would argue that we want to pay them more.
So I guess the return of staff sounds pretty good, is what we've been told. Is that,
It is looking good.
that's what you have too, Will?
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Any teachers say no yet?
A few elementary teachers that look pretty shaky, but it's more because of life circumstances than anything else, I think. But go ahead, Athena. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, well, we likely are going to be posting for one in elementary school. So, but that's a life circumstance thing more than anything.
We'll probably talk about it more on Wednesday, but I think the last information that Rihanna had with the stuff coming back, it was looking like there was maybe 2 non-returning and 2 that were on the fence waiting to figure out life circumstances before they can circle back together.
We're going to do an exit interview.
Yes.
Okay. Has previous exit interviews mentioned pay as a driver?
Yes.
Okay. And driving, 25 minutes
Right.
for most people.
It's also a thing, and that's part of what we have to consider too, is trying to be not just competitive with the pay, but also competitive with pay when we're a less convenient location often for people to work at, right? And so then trying to get people to come out here and then to retain them once they are out here. And onboarding and offboarding people is much more expensive than giving them a little bit of an increase to retain them in most cases. And
Right.
so, but it's hard when you're working on a shoestring budget to try and make that happen, not letting anybody go and trying to make the accommodations for everything. So it's a real balance to try and walk that line.
Yeah, I've been having to remove programs because we can't afford to pay for a teacher to do the program, and then we lose students who want the programs, and
There goes your ADM.
Yeah,
And
it's
then, yes. So
it's such a
But on a brighter note, because if enrollment comes in, and Mark, I don't know if you can speak to enrollment. 'cause
You
I
guys
think
want to
that's-
move from Will's documents to?
I just wanted to add one thing for context, and it doesn't change the analysis and it doesn't really change necessarily what we want, but just because there's, a new group of people here. The context is, yes, we do have to pay double books. Yes, our structure is set up, but other, the districts and other ones that aren't set up in this have the whole PERS costs and whatnot. And then there is a different percentage, as we all know, of what's received per student. And so, well, it doesn't really change the analysis. It doesn't change the bottom line here as to what we're looking at for the market and for, people needing to make enough in order to work here. If they're not compensated in, I guess, the sheer joy of teaching at Kings Valley. So yeah, it doesn't change that. I just wanted that to remember that that's part of the context, and it's not necessarily just because of our structure that we're looking different. It's a much more complex thing, which I think everyone here knows, but just wanted to add that. But I think we can move on.
Yeah, thanks, Sally. It was a really important context. Yeah, I should have mentioned that.
Generally, is your sense of staff, do they appreciate the 401k versus the PERS, or is that a sticking point at times?
I think most of them don't really know the difference or care. We've had a few in the past that really didn't want to be part of PERS. I think most teachers probably, if they think about it, they like it. They like the idea of a state-sponsored pension. I think there's a diversity of opinion there. I've never heard of it being a big issue for anyone, though. No one's ever talked to me about it at all, really. That doesn't mean it isn't there, but I haven't heard about it. Maybe Scott or Athena could give more insight. I'm not sure. PERS isn't what it used to be. It's not a defined benefit plan anymore.
I haven't heard anything from any of the teachers at all about it.
What I have heard is people appreciate the ability to make their own investments and control their own 403.
Yeah, I'd agree with Will that they don't know. Honestly, they don't know much about the retirement situation differences unless they're coming from PERS and we're well educated on what it is. I don't even think a lot of our staff really get it. Back in the day, we did some education on it when we were making the switch, but
There, we're back.
Yeah.
Sorry, we lost you for a second.
Scott, we missed everything you said.
Except I
Oh, you
would agree.
did?
But we're sure it was brilliant.
It was. Just know it was
I heard
brilliant.
him. It was good.
Oh well.
All right. Going on to this document, I think I put it in the wrong order. I think I'd like you to look at this part of it first. So going across the top, this is enrollment this year. This is the enrollment spaces offered, kids on the wait list, and then offers that are not accepted yet.
So if it's offered, that means it's locked in.
Somebody's on the line there saying, I'm thinking about it.
Got it,
Not locked in yet.
but not locked in yet.
Yeah.
We've extended the offer.
Yeah.
How long do they have to decide on that?
I think we're giving them 7 days. Might be
Okay.
5.
Okay.
I think it's a week.
We keep shortening. Keep shortening.
It's
So a lot of schools only give you like 48 hours, so that's generous.
they have 5 days before it closes again once they're offered the position for filling out their form or accepting it.
Okay, so 5 days. We've shortened it as we could. The other side of that is we want people to make good decisions.
Right.
But it's not fair to people on a wait list to have to wait 5 days. It's a bummer. And sometimes we lose people because of that.
Sure.
Okay, so those are your categories. And then, so there's 192 today. There are 214 people that have been offered. And then 6 of those are pending.
What does that mean, pending?
They haven't been accepted. They haven't decided they want to take the spot. They've been offered the spot. We've made 214 offers. 6 of them have not committed.
Got it.
So you'd be 208 confirmed,
It's good numbers.
right? Did I do it wrong?
Yeah.
Why? 8 plus 6 is 14, right?
Offers pending, they haven't confirmed. So are you saying that
They've been offered a spot, but they are thinking about it.
22 minus 6, so 16? You're saying 16 of the offered should be
6
enrolled?
are. 6 of
Yeah.
these offers are pending.
Pending enrollment. Like they've said, yes, we just haven't enrolled yet.
Yeah, so that would be 198.
They're thinking about it. They were offered this, they were on our wait list, they were offered a spot, and now they're within their 5 days thinking about it.
Okay.
So your 214 is the number of total offers that went out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And only 6 are pending.
Yeah.
So that
Correct.
would be 208 that have
But
accepted.
192 of those have accepted.
198
No,
is what we
192
are right
is
now.
last year's
Oh,
enrollment.
that's last year's. Okay.
Or this current.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
there's
Gotcha.
26 left on the wait list, but you can kind of get some idea of, where are they? There's 3 offers pending in 7th grade, but there's nobody on the wait list. If those 3 don't take, right? So you're conservative. It depends on where, but it gives you an idea of where you're going to take a risk, right? We don't know. It's all pending. So we're going to take a risk here. And so we go up and look at the other chart. And what I did here was estimate based on this year's staffing, what we'd have is if we didn't change any of the staffing, no raises, no nothing, just give up the current people and the change in funding and enrollment. And I took a few things. There's a rent change. There's a few changes that our board doesn't have any choice over that I put in. So it's my best estimate of what we would do if we didn't change any in staffing.
And does that number, and I might be jumping the gun here on your end, does that number include grants? This is assuming that we get the second literacy grant, all of the other money that we're going for?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
There was about 55,000 in donations and contributions that I was questioning. Does that number include those?
I think the majority of those are like firm, like those are like the levy is in there.
Hmm.
They're not firm, but we're going to get the levy. thing and it's gonna be about that kind of a thing, right? They're not like people just handing us money.
Okay.
I'd have to try to look, but that level of details. I was telling John before, you start looking at this level of detail, and what really is going to matter is the state funding number and the enrollment. You're not plus or minus 10,000 now. You're plus or minus say 50,000 now. You're not.
Yeah.
You can't. I tried to make it as conservative as possible.
That's why I was asking about, because it's 55,000. So for that number. So what I will say is yes, 30,000 of that looks like it's levy funds. There's a $19,000 from August that I just wasn't sure if, we want to include that.
I think that money is. Let me just look real quick.
Is that coaches?
It might be, yeah, we have early on in August, that's coaches money, and that's also from an endowment. So that's guaranteed money too.
Great. Okay.
It has strings.
It
Well,
all does.
it has some strings.
I just want to make sure we're expecting to get it before we make decisions that, affect $50,000 on that.
And that number is also before the state's ADW raise, correct?
Yeah, these numbers that she's talking about are, the big numbers are the levy and the coaches grant.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another $5,000 in here.
But like you said, that gets.
So I think the revenue is pretty conservative. I did the revenue steps we're at our lowest funding rates. So I increased we get paid less for special education students than we do for regular education students. And so I've made them all special education students as I increased.
Oh.
So there's upside, right? Because they're not all going to be special ed students. I'm almost sure of it.
And it's like, I don't know.
Where is my document? Here it is.
Why do you get paid less? Because the federal money goes?
No, it's the deal we did with the district to keep them, keep their staffing up here.
Okay.
Is essentially what we did. They wanted that money because they were falling short here.
So that extra money, they keep pace for Terrence and whoever else is.
Yeah.
Their argument was that the whole district was carrying the load, the cost, and that they wanted us to be in a similar position to share the load. Because they get capped at a percentage the state pays them back. They don't get full. So
And that may change.
yeah, it could change. Washington changed it. Yeah.
That's definitely under consideration to legislature. Would change things a lot.
Even an increase, and that would change a lot.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
So the short answer is we don't know. We have no idea what the state is.
Yeah, we don't know.
But
Okay.
this is, conservative projections are always.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hopefully it's enough information to make sure you guys can give a wage increase. And I think you can see like at 195, we have 130K. So we have a policy where we have to keep a certain amount. So I've estimated the carryover loss here is the kind of profit and loss of the year, and then what we'd have at the end of the fiscal year in terms of cash, 481, and then above we're trying to hold a reserve, and we'd be $130,000 over the reserve at 195 students.
And Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but that reserve is basically so that we can make payroll in June.
No, well, part of the reserve is the payroll, in June. So that's 250K. We got to have that in the bank, but we are holding money to pay off the property.
Okay.
If we went wrong, we're also holding money to pay PSKV for a month, maybe two. I have to look. Just a month.
Okay.
So that makes up most of it actually. We're holding money for the students that they've earned money and they have an account that's like $5,000, right? So we're holding
Got it.
restricted funds there. So you can see, so it's, as enrollment goes up, it's nicer. And if we land in the 205 range or 208 range, we'd be pretty happy. We landed 195, we won't be too unhappy either, right? But we do have to get wage increases and hopefully some program changes too.
Mhm.
The program change, and you guys have heard this probably through your own administrators, but these are the kind of things that we've gone through. I went and figured out so often when you guys give raise, we give KVCS a raise. Our people too try to keep up a little bit. We also have we have other contractors. We have not Elsie, but Fall City, right? Those bus drivers, they need some increase too, right? So whatever you do, we probably try to match there. And I estimated a 1% was, say 17K or 20K. So every 1% you guys give, we got to come up with 20K roughly. So that hopefully that's helpful. Will has a different analysis too. It's pretty close actually. In my opinion, Will's is maybe more accurate, but my opinion is pretty close. It's not. Mine's plus or minus 3,000, maybe something like that. Things we want. We're an enrichment teacher. FTE 0.75, and PE and gardening. Kind of things that I estimated at the current rate. These are current rates, 33,750. Aides in elementary classroom, we want to add a 0.875 FTE. Math teacher, if you want to add a math teacher, reduce the middle school math, and increase the admin, you get 43,531. If we do it in a way that we shift the middle school wellness gardening to math, reduce the middle school math, and increase admin, we could save 17K. So there is a desire to shift from the teaching that's going on for math by our admins to more admin. Is that a good summary on that one?
Would that lose us our gardening though, if we're moving wellness gardening to math?
They got that enrichment teacher that he wants for gardening.
You would lose the middle school gardening piece of it.
Got it. But if we added back in the enrichment teacher, then that would then backfill.
That would pick up the elementary piece of it, not the middle school.
So there would be no middle school gardening
Right.
and no high school. There's no current high school gardening.
That's not true. The CTE teacher could teach horticulture next year.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure the gardening thing was accurately accounted for. So yeah, so I sent something to the admin because I sat down with Sarah to ask all about the gardening to make sure I understood it. And basically next year we would be able to provide a lot of the same things that we're getting right now for middle school gardening. So Sarah's going to be able to teach one elective, which is the outdoor cooking she does now on Friday. She's still going to be able to do, which was a huge part of the gardening program. Also, our other teacher, Brendan McMullen, is really into gardening, and he's going to be doing an elective as well for the middle school. So we are, she's only able to take the kids out to the garden once or twice a week right now. She's got other classes like health and such and wellness that she's doing during the week too. So I didn't feel personally that we were cutting back a whole lot on our middle school gardening program with some things we're going to be able to provide for next year, if that helps you guys at all.
So what are those teachers teaching as electives now that they'd be shifting out of?
Sarah's not doing an elective. And then Brendan is still going to be able to do his other like science and technology elective that he's doing. He's doing an academic support right now, which is mostly a study hall. So, I mean, I think we're in good shape.
So would he be doing a gardening elective as well as a STEM elective?
No, we will.
Gardening is being part of that STEM elective.
No, those are two different electives. what Brendan would be dropping is the study hall to do a gardening. So he would be doing one gardening elective, but also doing a something. I don't know that he's decided, but STEAM is one of them, a strong candidate. And then Sarah would be picking up the outdoor elective cooking, which she prefers to do as an elective anyway. She's been asking about gardening being placed in the elective time slot as it is, because there's taking kids out that don't want to do the garden is not a fun thing to do because they just fight her on it. Anyway, so we've worked a lot with Sarah on this, just so you know.
And Scott, I guess, is that what Sarah's wanting to do, or is that kind of needs of the school? You know, talking about teacher retention, you know.
So there's a lot to that. The first one is, you know, when she moved from the elementary to middle school, there wasn't an opportunity to do the math, but her degree is in science and math. And she's expressed, you know, she obviously loves the garden. She's really talented at it. And I think that's great. Wonderful. But she also we worked with her on, you know, what are you interested in doing? And she brought up the math, and, you know, that fit what Michael and I were kind of thinking about, because we're pulled in all kinds of directions right now. And not to get into that right now, but basically for Sarah, she also wanted a really secure position too, and she felt like this is just a piece of the decision making for her, that math would be one of those positions that wouldn't be cut ever. And so like the gardening is like, perhaps if we didn't have just her line of thinking, math would be a really secure spot to land, as part of the equation anyway, for her. But yes, we did share a need. Hey, Michael and I are doing the math right now. It's really tough for us to keep that going. We're pulled out of there all the time. And so we asked if she'd be interested in that, and she really started to get excited about it. But she really likes the garden too, so that was hard. But now she's in a place where I think she's pretty gung-ho about the math. So again, we feel pretty good about it.
One of the concerns about the garden, and Sarah has articulated it, is that there's not summer staff support for whatever gets planted. And she's volunteered that. There's not prep time either, just to go out and work. So that is a piece that is missing from any of this. And my conversation with Sarah was that the school has to decide too. Is it a experience garden to where kids just get to go out and dig and do, whatever, or are we looking for more of a commercial style garden? And then you have to put money towards the maintenance piece of it during the summer and whatnot.
Which is the following week. I had to move to Wednesday because of Memorial Day. And then we would do what we can with what we have. We all have the same set of information. We just have to.
And that's the 5:30 time, right?
It should be at 5:30.
Oh,
I think that's the
went out as
evergreen.
5:30. And on the 28th, there was something that said 5:30 on the post.
That's an error.
So my calendar is 5:30.
Is it real?
So it's 6:30
It's 6:30.
on the 28th? Okay.
I'll be out of town, just so you know, so I will not be able to make that meeting. But I trust you can all carry on without me.
I'll do our best.
I guess, Sally Beth, going back, this conversation surrounding, programming, enrichment, core math, how have you guys threaded that needle in the past? How do we support core learning while giving our students, that rural education?
Well, I mean, it's driven by funding. So, in the past, we weren't as good at offering competitive wages. I think the focus was more on the workplace culture and what the other benefits of working at KVCS.
Right.
I think we're stronger than they are in the current economy. And so I think that's a major shift, for the past decade plus, is I think economic realities they're different today than they were previously. So the workplace culture, isn't as valued as the financial benefit. And so that's something to juggle. So it's basically resources. And I feel like there's also been a shift in, just the capacity for service work as well within the community. And so, we have in the past managed to do quite a lot with volunteers, and that has changed dramatically over the last 10 years. So I think, we have to, I think we have to start thinking outside the box and think strategically about within those contexts and frameworks about how to attract and retain individuals and how to solicit help from community members, kind of a thing.
Thoughts? I mean, we're parents. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think Beth pretty much hit the nail on the head with what I was going to say, which is the economic realities of where we're at now is that people put more focus exactly on that bottom line paycheck, right? And we see the same thing with the PTO and with all the other things too, with the volunteerism. So I think you're kind of spot on with that there's just, it's harder to get the support and not have to pay for it at this point.
I mean, we've got PTO and board. We've got PTO and board. We've got board and my wife's PTO. And it's like you get those core half dozen families that really participate, and then you get a little bit of sparse participation out of that. It's kind of sad, but it's the reality, especially after COVID. It's a dramatic drop in a lot of that volunteering.
And it's not for lack of effort of trying to get
Nope.
people in the door. We're also in a little bit of a situation where, we see the literacy numbers, we see the math, we see how far behind things are in general. And, as much as, I legit cried tears when we cut the music position, and I am probably going to cry tears with the idea of not having, more of a focused garden program. But I also understand that there's a little bit of like, you juggle a lot of balls, you have to catch the ones that are glass, right? And I feel like we're a little bit in that situation. I just hope that we can build back up to a point where we are highlighting the strengths of our school. And that is my fear with not having a focus on a good gardening program here, is that they can go to any school and have a focus on math and literacy. We have a strength out here in where we're at, the land we're on, the different CTE programs that are available, that's a strength. And I feel like not really putting the resources into a really good garden education program is us not taking advantage of our strengths. Having said that, I also understand where we're at, but I am concerned about it.
I think that the investment in the admin time is bearing fruit. I think the behavioral issues that we've seen this year are far less than last year. And so parent satisfaction, student satisfaction,
Mm-hmm.
and that may be resulting, in our better enrollment numbers. It doesn't hurt that, our senior class is 6. That's going up to 10. So
Wow.
I know, right? So
That's
We're gonna need so many golf carts.
So, but I mean, truly, I mean, it's the one place where we have openings is in the high school.
Don't forget kindergarten.
Yeah.
So, I guess the only question I have is kind of where do we land as a board, that conservative risk assessment? So, I mean, we're projecting, on a good day, 214 with a downside of 208, but beginning of the year, who knows? We could get a few, we could lose a few. I tend to be more conservative and sit at 205. I mean, at 205 with nothing changing, that gives us that 190 at the end of the year.
Which is still, a good chunk over our target.
Correct. And that 190 is that room to play with to add the
All those,
enrichment,
yes.
add the,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you
And,
spend
and
the
the
190,
wages
you'll
raise.
be at target. If you spend the whole 190, you'd be at target. Is that making sense?
But this is not including the raises.
I was just say that
Correct.
that 190 also does your standard like 3.5 step and any cost of living or salary increase adjustments and any changes to
Correct.
like increased cost of utilities or increased cost of,
Everything.
Yeah.
Food,
right.
transportation.
Mm-hmm.
Or
It
any-
looks like a good number, but it's not,
It's
it's not that
not.
big.
Right.
Or adding any FTE.
But it definitely gives you enough to do the raise and do some of these
Mhm.
changes too, I think.
It allows for a little bit of comfortable wiggle room, but not a lot.
Not a
Can
lot.
you clarify the last option, the shift middle school wellness gardening to math, reduce middle school math? What does that look like? What does that mean?
It's,
If you,
So is it just talking about the amount paid to middle school math? It's not talking about the time.
no, it's just you added a teacher in, right? And you're taking one away and you're increasing the admin. So it's a 3-step move that ends up minus 17K.
My clarification is that we're not reducing the amount of middle school math being offered. That's what I just wanted to clarify.
Correct.
You're just paying a different rate because you have a person who's in a different step position. Or
Right,
different,
doesn't
yeah.
have the same year's experience.
Well, and the reason you save money is you're not paying you're shifting a gardening program off, and a teacher that's teaching wellness and gardening to other people. Like they've got the wellness covered. Maneuver, I think, and so you actually save money. This is when I normally know tips.
Michael, Athena, I mean, you guys have thoughts on this? I mean, this affects your day to day. Like, what is, you guys see those students. What do you guys think?
We've been off for an hour and a half. No.
I'm still here. I just have a lot of action happening at my house. Two little dogs running around like crazy. So, I mean, I think it's hard to judge, right, for the elementary perspective, because I spend a few hours every day also doing PE, and so if I wasn't teaching, like that would look very different. So, in terms of the elementary school, like we have to, in terms of gardening and music and whatnot, like we have to have a candidate who can do PE, or like we had talked about, like variety, right? So maybe they do a unit on music, and then they do a unit on theater, and then they do a unit, so it's more well-rounded rather than just one thing. And there's ways to incorporate music into PE and just different things. So just finding the right candidate, I think, is key. So
And then Mark, does any of these projections cover a full-time sub out here, like we talked about?
If it's in the budget now, what is, I think we do have a person in the budget now
You
that's,
have a temporary person in the budget.
but it's in the budget, so it's, yeah,
Okay.
it would cover that position.
Got it.
Athena and Scott and Michael, the priorities here for you guys, the way I understand it is kind of in the order that's here, the enrichment teacher, then the aide, then the change in management. Is that the correct priority?
From my perspective, yes.
I'm sorry, I can't see the thing anymore. What was the order, Mark?
The order is enrichment teacher, aides in the classroom, and then the shift to middle school.
For sure, the enrichment teacher. Was the aides in the classroom the 0.875 ad?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I don't remember that one, but I'm sure Athena, if she says we need it, we need it. So yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah. So it's-
Yeah, I agree too.
So if we did all that, that's adding 40-ish thousand, 42,000 out of that 190. So that drops that 190.
57 minus 17, about 30K, right?
Plus the 33 for the enrichment.
33 and 24 is
40.
57 minus 17.
Yeah, about 40.
Okay.
So then that gives us 150 to absorb wage increase amongst everything else.
With Mark's number of 17, I'd put about 17.5, a 3.5% increase would be about 61K.
Okay.
So at 200 students, that would still leave you 100K to play with.
Are you guys not adding the math teacher?
No, we're adding.
45,
No,
the
that's if
43?
you do this bottom option rather than the
Yeah.
third one. The third one adds the math teacher, doesn't change.
Oh,
It just brings on a math teacher.
Yeah, so it's, if you choose to move your admin time, restructure your math, then you've got to add 43,000 too.
You don't have to. You can do this bottom option. But it does have an effect. There's less people.
right. And we lose the middle school gardening.
No,
It's just getting
It just gets moved to
Just
11.
Yeah.
moved to an elective with. I mean, it sounds like the
Anyway, that's, I guess, that's for the down the road decision, but that's kind of the shape of the budget, assuming that the state doesn't do something crazy.
one of the things Will was gonna work on is to just, as the enrollment goes up, to target some, commit some funds. So that at least some portion of any, as we go up in these, if we get 216 kids, we ought to give some money to the staff.
Yeah.
As you go up these each step of 5 kids or something, we ought to make sure we get, it'd be better to do it probably as a bonus, because kids might not stay here or something.
Right.
yeah.
That's what we had discussed.
I was saying
is
that's one of the things that we're considering. Yeah.
shooting at about a 200 student, just base rate, kind of based on what you have at 200 students, and then anything above that, up to 210. We were going to cap it at 210, and you guys can keep anything kind of above that. But I think Will's got some stuff worked up that we will discuss before putting the.
If it looks really good, like if there really is 216 here, we could give a more permanent raise there.
More of a COLA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I really think that we're way behind on cost of living for
Oh, yeah.
people.
It's an interesting idea to link, a bonus to student retention, which is implies a little more buy-in from the teachers to meet students' needs, because then they do have that financial incentive.
Well, and we were just trying to come up with creative ways too, to be able to pay staff fairly and try to retain quality individuals that we have working at this site without tapping too hard into what we know are tight budgets for the schools that are, that we serve. So we're trying to get a little bit creative with some of the options that we're looking at this year to make that happen.
Yeah, that would be my only hesitation with, bumping up the salaries in September would be, okay, then we've got another 3.5 and then another 3.5. And at some point we push ourselves out of being able to afford things. But if we can do it, that would be awesome.
There are other things we've given up over the years that, in my opinion, could have an effect. People don't, these would be educational things that I think about that are not widely accepted, maybe. I think a foreign language, for instance, in the elementary grades has a big effect on literacy, in that it is one of the only ways, if you believe that one way to learn things is to repeat. And it's one way to get kids to repeat language structure, nouns, verbs, that kind of thing. And not that they get a lot of it repetitive in English, but I think it's also good to do them in another language. And I don't know, maybe that affects the top learners, maybe more so than the lowest learners. But that we've given up quite some time ago, I guess, a couple of years now. And we used to have elementary kids learning Spanish and Chinese, and we don't. And then I also believe it's similar in music. Music is an effect on, I think, probably an effect on language and math, and likely your physical well-being as well. And not having that is something that my kids had that I think it's a bummer that you guys don't have. And if we, that would be the kind of thing you talk about when you talk about a raise. If there's enough money to do both, and like the people who get paid though.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that'd be nice.
It's hard. It's a hard problem. I'm glad that you guys are making this.
Okay, before we move off of this, anyone have any last thoughts?
Just thank you, everybody, for putting in all this work and information into all of this and the way it's been presented and communicated about, and it's just really appreciated.
I agree. Thank you, everyone.
You bet. Thanks for working so hard and not getting paid anything, you guys, board members. You are appreciated and recognized.
Okay, back to new things. So the rest of it is all KVCS stuff. So you're welcome to stay, of course. But yeah, I'm appreciative too that you guys are tolerating my process.
Well, I'm going to take off, guys, and try to get some rest.
Feel better.
Get better.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
I am taking off as well. I have the same thing that's going around, so I will.
Thanks for
I
coming.
will talk with you guys later.
Bye.
We need to stop getting sick.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna take off too. I'm probably subbing for Will tomorrow.
Like that he waited till Will got off to say.
Right. All right.
They're all
Another one bites the dust.
Yeah. You guys are more than welcome to stay if you want. It's gonna be exciting. KV loan and rent. All right. KV trust information.
All right. So the KV Trust is the landowner here, and we pay them rent. Buildings. They buy, property stuff like the buildings. They have taken the loans out, and we pay them rent to pay those loans off. So those loans came. A couple of them stopped. There's the school loan, And there's a loan for the Williams property where it used to be a house. And then there were two modular loans, maybe three modular loans that ended in September. So the rent, we're paying the rate of all of them since September. So we've overpaid. We paid money in addition to over and above the remaining loans. And so that is a significant budget change in the next year's budget. You know, like $1,000 a month.
17.
Was that calculated in those updated numbers? Is the less expense?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if I put that. Yeah. So you have this string of emails with the kind of the lease dates and the details when those go and all that. So I wanted you guys to see that in that. We need to set some, we don't have a good way to set these triggers for 2034, for instance. Like that's, you know, good number of years out, 9 years out or something, right? So you got to remember, someone's got to remember that this loan's going to go out at that time. And
The district payment is even shorter than.
yeah, the district would be, that would be a lot of money for us, you know, in 2027. That one will be easier to remember.
In 2 years, yeah.
I mean, and this can obviously be brought up, you know, tomorrow, but I mean, you would expect your bank to give you a statement on a loan. Is it too far to expect their treasurer to give us an annual account summary?
I don't know. That's a good question. So they would be they don't have any employees. So they are a totally volunteer board and their expertise.
I mean, a simple Excel spreadsheet turned into a PDF of this is all your payments this year. This is the remaining balance. You can auto sum it. Like,
Yeah. And maybe one of us ought to do that. Right. Tracking that. I mean, because we have paid people, right?
right.
And so that's the situation. I guess that's the thing. So we're going to meet with them tomorrow night. A couple of us are going to go and talk about this. There are some perceived unfairnesses from that board. At least one board member there that we use their classroom or use their room and to pay them and that kind of thing. And then there's you start to account for all that kind of thing. Like we mowed their lawn with our equipment and we paid our employee to do that for a while, or Evergreen did. And, you know, so, and then we have, we pay for the security cameras across the way for their thing. And we often buy the propane. So there's a, you know, we've been casual about it. You know, we exchange and everything's happy until someone's unhappy. And we might be in that situation. We are unhappy. We're out $10,000, right? $10,700 worth of rent. So we raised an issue, right? But then they're bringing up this other thing. So we'll see. Could be a interesting meeting where we've moved from a more casual relationship to a more formal one. And
So we've continued paying on leases that were already done.
or loans, yeah.
Loans
Yeah,
that
we pay
were,
a lease payment.
okay.
So
So what were they doing with the funds that we gave them? Were they,
we don't know. We think they still have them because Jeff, their person said they had it still.
I mean, and again, this is a tomorrow conversation, but another suitable thing is we just knock it at the end of the loan. So they're not out anything. And the loan is $10K less. So
Well,
instead
the
of,
problem is they owe the money to someone else.
They still have to, if they don't have it, they still have to come up with it.
but they have it because we gave it to them.
It doesn't mean that they
Unless
have
they
it.
spend it on something.
well, that,
Yeah. But there's no rental agreement, there's no lease agreements, there's.
There's a lease agreement,
Yes.
and I attached those to the, well, you might.
Ren's
There's,
having a rough time right now.
so there's an official lease agreement. And it's all signed and good by a notary and all that. And then there is a lease addendum. It's what we're paying on, but it's not signed by anybody. And we can't find the signed copies, and I looked at, so our auditor even
It'll be okay,
accepted
Red.
this copy of this agreement. But we have to give this to the auditors. The auditors have accepted these two documents as the right amount. Well, we haven't been audited. We'll get called on audit. If we don't get the $10,000 back, we'll get a call out on the audit that we overpaid our lease or something. And I don't know if it'll be material. I don't know if $10,000 is material on a $2 million deal, but it feels material to half a music teacher or whatever.
So,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
And Sally Beth, this, again, maybe a question for you guys, but if this agreement started in the sense of community, and so they're holding on to the land so that no one else can take it away from us, and they're not, I guess, being nice or being neighborly or being like that, it doesn't feel good. And so it's like, why are they holding on to our property and our land if we can't trust them with $10,000?
I think there might be a certain degree of overreaction happening, to be
Okay.
honest. And I would like to wait until
Okay,
the meeting tomorrow evening, which I will be attending,
I'll be there.
to identify next steps.
A lot of times it just means you just get in front of people and talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're all on the same team.
Yeah.
Okay,
We all have the same goals.
okay. As long as we're on the same page.
We just need to sit down and meet everybody's needs, and I'm pretty confident we can do that.
Okay.
And then we sign things.
We really want that organization to exist. It's important that it
Yeah.
exists. Yeah.
It's really important.
So unfortunately, so that addendum, it was dated 2019. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, so 6 years ago, and there were some things that I signed, but 6 years ago, I can't, I didn't file them. I wasn't responsible for filing them at the school. But I trust that you've dug in everywhere that you can find, that you can look at to try to find a copy of a signed one. And I guess the trust doesn't have that either. Is that correct?
That's correct. Jeff and I have both looked everywhere that we could.
Then that may not have been one that was actually brought and signed, but yeah, I know around that time there were a couple. There was an update to it, an addendum, an MOU, and a charter addendum, and things that were all occurred. There were like 2 or 3 different documents in that 6-month period of time, and just so
I have
Sorry.
all of
remember.
them. There's a room David Crow's file cabinet got. It's probably where they were and they got gone.
Yeah, so okay.
Okay.
You guys feel briefed?
Yeah.
Hopefully tomorrow is smooth and friendly.
Yeah.
It will be better with just not me.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Beth.
Well,
yes.
and I mean, Mark talked to me about it just, for clarity and transparency, and, and I'm happy to do it. And then I had suggested that John also attend just to help with the institutional knowledge piece and kind of the background and context. And so, combine some new blood and old blood and whatnot. So
That's good.
Okay, meal program.
We're joint meeting with the KV Trust. This was a different meeting. This was
This is,
like a tour meeting. We
Oh,
need to set
yeah.
a date and stuff.
yeah,
Right.
this is more of just a PR meet and greet style meeting and a tour. Sometime this summer, that would work for everybody.
Do we have a month in mind? Can we?
Don't necessarily have a month in mind. They were open to many options.
Could we tag it onto one of our, I guess, less taxing, less busy, normal meeting?
Typically, you guys don't meet in July.
For a reason.
Um,
Is,
I would rather double down on a different month.
okay. Is June a busy month for us?
Depends.
June is like over for me already, so
Yeah.
I can't do June.
Okay.
I'd have to agree, June is bonkers, so
Okay.
I'd rather.
So Beth, that sounds like
Got
August.
All right.
Mid to late August. Later in August would be good.
Okay,
Late
later in
August.
August. That means Diana's picking a date.
Okay.
Like that plan.
All right, got it.
Okay, now meal program, community eligibility.
Yes. So did you do the math?
I did. Good math. I updated our meal program estimate. I didn't change it in the budget, but I did do the numbers again based on looks like through April. And there's a lot of meals gone out of here, almost 5,000 lunches, or 6,800 lunches, 16,000 lunches.
Good job.
And I think we're about break even now.
Ooh.
It's a little bit about is more like my projected 14K. I was projecting a $20,000 loss, and this time my numbers came up with 14.5. So I don't know.
Poor Red. It's fine. It's just a $34,000 swing. It's okay, Red. It's in
But
our
it's-
favor.
Well, but there's a reason for it. I mean, we found where there was some changes in rates, right, that we weren't taking into consideration, and
Well, that explains the losses. right?
I was gonna say, I'm just not really understanding where the increase is coming from.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't had time to look. So yeah, I guess it's probably the safest thing is to consider that you're going to run this loss on the lunch program, no matter what. I would be
Because we basically don't have much money. We don't get reimbursed the full amount, right? So we're gonna be at a loss no matter what.
depends if more kids eat. So there's an economy of scale on labor.
Yes,
But are we close to that?
slightly. And I don't know that you've modified snack in here, so that's just a complete,
We don't. Yeah, the snack is in the expenses,
but
but
you
we don't get any money for it, so it's not in the revenue side at all.
yes, so it's still there, going to be a loss, is what I'm saying. But Brenda's right, we do not receive 100% reimbursed. We receive 90% reimbursement. And then that's a fixed reimbursement, which is less than what we charged for a paid meal before. So you're getting 85 cents, maybe, fuzzy math difference. That could change if our SNAP and TANF changes over the summer, then we can do every year, you can do a readjustment. And if it goes up, then you get 100% reimbursement. State is still continuing to say that you should make more money on scale, but then no bad debt. So there is that fact that we haven't incurred. Well, I can't even say that because we do have some students that choose milk or juice, and we still bill them for those small incidentals. So,
But it's pretty limited, right? I mean, the debt for school lunches.
drinks a thing of orange juice every day, that's 75 cents. So, and if nobody pays for it, then that could be a several $100 debt. That's the only thing within that. If it's a true lunch or a breakfast, then there's no loss associated. The question is, I can say, I just need to check the box. Do we want to do this again? So I wanted to make the board fully aware of the fact that you're losing revenue. You've lost revenue this year. You lost revenue last year. So I don't know where the line is, how much you lost last year versus how much you're losing this year. It is, from my perspective, I do not like being a debt collector, and I don't like calling, and I don't like the onerous for families. So that piece I do appreciate.
So the question being set forth right now is, do we want to keep with the same community eligibility provisions so that basically people aren't really having to pay for lunch?
Yeah.
Yeah. Knowing that we incur, an expense of somewhere around, based on that, it was 20K. Does that seem right?
That was the previous analysis, it was 20K
It was 20K.
For the year.
for the year.
Mhm.
And then but now I have a better one, so I don't know.
And I will say our bad debt was probably $12,000.
I happen to know that some of that was somebody here and they just forgot to pay.
I don't
Yeah.
think Clark ate that much.
That's right, it was you.
I'm pretty sure I paid mine. What are you talking about?
Ew.
No. But that's an accurate, statement of what some of the debt.
My personal thought process is I'd rather incur the debt feeding everybody and reducing stress on family than incur the debt with specific individuals and feel like you've got to go after them and then not necessarily be able to get it anyway.
Okay.
So that's my personal stance on it.
I could have just clicked the box, but I thought, nah, I'm gonna bring it to you guys and let you guys have discussion about what risk do you want to take.
Let's feed the kids.
So, yeah, I think that's fundamentally where we've always landed, and not that can't change, but, we talk about all the things that we can offer at a school. Our meal program, our lunch program has been a staple, even at a loss, even during times when we're cutting other things and whatnot. And so, yeah, I would prefer to acknowledge that it is what it is, but we are part of students being successful is making sure that they at least get that 1 to 2 meals a day. That's important. So I am okay with that risk.
Okay.
Do you need a vote here? You need an official vote in the minutes?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
This was just more fact finding to make certain, like I said before, I checked the box to move forward.
Do we offer the free lunches to staff?
No, that would be a benefit. We stopped doing that quite a few years ago because it is a benefit.
Would be an interesting, the question that was never answered is if it's a gift from KVCS to PSKV, could it not be wages? We've never asked the attorney that.
It's still a benefit, even if Evergreen gave free lunches to
No,
their.
you're gonna give it. Somebody who's not their employer is gonna give them.
Yeah.
Be a gift from KVCS, not from PSKV,
It's a donation from one nonprofit to another.
except it's not, well, it could be. Yeah.
Mhm.
But if we give it to Evergreen, then they will be giving it to their employees, and then it won't be a gift anymore. We have to
Yeah,
gift
that
it
has to
directly.
become part of their taxable income.
Right.
So we have to directly gift it.
Yeah, I'm not certain how you would.
Right, if you have somebody
That
that's
doesn't
taking meals
determine-
every
That was-
single day at the end of the year, how much
Yeah.
is that? And does it put it above
Yes.
certain reporting thresholds for gifts and other things too? Yeah.
It's not in the mission of Kings Valley Charter School, nonprofit bylaws and stuff to feed people necessarily beyond students.
No, but if we're being creative about staff
Mhm.
retention, and how much of the staff is even going to take up the offer?
A free lunch?
Yeah.
Oh, quite a few. Yeah, I used to have a lot of staff members.
It was nice. It was cool.
Yeah.
Well, but
Everybody ate together. That was a really good thing.
It actually was very popular.
how much are we talking about over a year's time?
Oh, they are eating already. We'll lose the revenue from, see if I can find that for you.
I used to serve half the staff on a regular basis. And if it's free, then I bet you would push probably 75%. in even just hitting the salad bar and not choosing an entree.
Yeah, but I mean, like in raw dollars, like what would that?
It's $5 a piece is what I legally have to charge for an adult.
We've sold 692 paid adult lunches.
How many days do your staff, do the staff work?
160, what is it, 168?
Well, the staff work more, but when
Like-
you make
like for
lunch,
your-
I make lunch. Actually,
How many
more than
days do you make lunch that they would eat?
that.
Right, like when you're doing your school calendar, how many days per year is the
179.
cafeteria open?
179 that staff work. Yeah, that's the first week and then after. Yeah. Roughly 180
We could
days.
run that by Rihanna. I'd be curious
Yeah.
what the considerations would have to be.
KVCS gifts it directly.
Right.
And how many, what's 75% of the staff? What are we at? Like, oh, just did staff appreciation. This should all be in my head.
What's that?
I was just trying to think of what 75% of the staff
No,
is.
I mean, in Will's numbers, we have our total staff.
Oh,
Was it
I
80?
see
Well,
what you're
and
saying.
Not everybody here is Evergreen, KVCS, right? We have people that are Philomath School District. We have, like, it's mixed, right? But when we did staff appreciation, it was roughly 50 people was what we did.
It's about the number of Evergreen employees.
Yeah, I think you could probably figure 40 people.
Would be partaking.
So that's $200 a day.
I mean, and just per person, if you did the 180 times 5.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't cost us $5 to make it. That's what
Exactly.
we sell it for.
Oh, okay. That's
It's-
true.
But that would be the perceived benefit, right?
Right.
If you had to tax someone on that benefit or as a gift income.
Yeah, Karen's right. That is the cost. That's the
Right,
associated
that's-
cost.
That's what they
Yeah,
pay.
that's the value of what they're receiving, even if it's not what you pay for it.
It's chunk.
How much was it?
200 times 180.
No, 5 times 180. I mean, well, 200 times 180 would be for the everybody, but 5 times 180 would be one individual person. So what would it be for that? At $5 a day for 180 days for a single person?
That's $900 for a single person.
900.
So
Okay.
you multiply that for
45,000.
approximately 50.
But for an
40.
individual person though,
40.
for tax purposes, to know whether that 900 is below a gift threshold that we could allow.
Got it.
Right,
See what
because
you're
each
saying.
individual person is who you have to look at the tax implication for.
Okay, we were looking at the total to see if it's something we can consider.
Right, right.
So total would be around 36K, which is a lot. But it would be awesome. But it would also be a music teacher.
But that's also, again, so on your numbers, that's not the actual cost.
Not the
Good
cost
point.
of
That's
food.
that's the
value.
value received, but that is not the
That's
cost
not
of
the
what
cost
it,
of food.
what you guys would have to pay, right? So I'm worried about taxable perceived dollars,
Right.
right? You're worried about actual cost.
This is why we do what we
It's,
do.
it's about 3 1/4 rent.
But I mean, if we're talking about
So
bonuses
325
and
times 180 times.
I can honestly say that people are gonna want the cash in their pocket. They would enjoy a random free lunch, but if we're talking
40
that kind
people.
of money, $900, they're gonna want cash in their
So you're
pocket.
looking.
It would be interesting to
I agree.
offer free lunch one day a week or something like
Yeah, I
that.
was wondering that too.
Oh.
I was thinking maybe it's not an everyday situation, but it's like Fridays or Mondays.
Like Mondays when, yeah, it would be great not to have to figure out making your lunch on the first day back to school. kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that would be, I mean, because looking at, 5 days, we're looking at 23,400 at that 325 mark. But if we did it one day,
That'd be 5K.
That
Good
would go a long way.
kitchen,
PTO might do that much.
could
I
the-
mean, you're not really wrong, but.
I mean, can your staff accommodate that many more meals? Or is Becca gonna kill me?
It would depend. If all 40 people, then, that's 3-4 more pieces, so she might. But she would just need time to,
Okay.
to make certain that she was aware of that, because that's just not,
Plan easier meals for those days.
yeah, to accommodate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry I derailed this, but I still think it's something of value worth, that a Monday, lunch.
Agreed.
And if it's 5K, I'd easily eat the 5K loss in that meal program if that means that, our staff has one less thing to worry about, personally, on a Monday.
I also like the idea of, staff getting a day that they go and they get food together, they eat together, or, just even if it's one day a week, that seems pretty rad.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be everybody, because elementary has a different meal pattern than
Yeah.
middle school, high school. Just the rhythm of the schedule.
We'll take what we can get.
Okay. Let's move to the handbook, which has a lot of little edits.
Yes, it does.
There are two of them,
Mhm.
two handbooks. I think the main one is, it's really mostly date changes, and there's a few things we took out.
Did you get your logic why you're bringing that right now?
I did not tell anybody that logic. If we can approve it tonight, we can approve them, both documents tonight. We can include them in the registration, electronic registration, so the parents are required to read certain things and then they will click a box to register, so we can get a hard confirmation that they've read these documents.
Can we give them a quick quiz on how many hours they're supposed to volunteer?
It's in this
It is in
document.
there.
I know it's in it. I'm saying, can we quiz them?
But how many people are gonna actually read it all instead of
That's
just
why I'm
scrolling to the
saying,
bottom
can we
and
quiz
clicking?
them?
And it is
Yeah.
at the bottom, so
That's quiz in
still
there.
a bluff.
They're still clicking that they read it.
That
I
is
feel
the thing.
responsible.
That's the thing.
I guess the other thing I want, I think I need permission to make some changes like this, like whatever we end up with staff, this won't be like this tomorrow on September, right? It's gonna be different. So we'll have to do an update, but I could probably do that and not bring it to the board, just change who's been hired and who's not.
Roster.
Ross, well,
The roster.
this kind of thing is useful for parents, I think.
Mhm.
There's a lot of changes here, so
And really just simplifying it, you're kind of cutting it down,
yeah.
which is the intent, and the substance I didn't see change much.
Not much.
There is an argument for cutting it way down. But it's hard to filter through and cut much more.
I think I was taking a crack at it and then couldn't finish. At any rate, I'd like to approve these changes. There isn't any behavior changes, no cell phone or dress code changes.
We'll see how that vote went.
Well,
today.
I was gonna say here in 3 weeks we'll know if all that changes.
Yeah.
Did they vote on it today?
Oh, did they?
I think today, the cell phone was today.
I'll go back and find out.
Hope some of our
Pretty
parents show up there to
certain.
argue. They sure come here to argue about it. Okay, so there's two, and then I don't believe, I just changed the dates on the middle high. No, there aren't changes in here. There's a few spelling changes. No graduation changes there.
Potential vote today, May 19th, for that bill.
Okay.
So it does look like the high school, there's really just a couple spelling changes from what I see in track changes.
Correct.
We'll start with the high middle because that's easy. Does anyone have any questions? Want to take more time to look at it?
I don't, I mean, I'm assuming that all the changes were tracked, so.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion.
I motion to approve, let me say, Mark's continual processing this to get it ready for the
You can just say approve the markup draft
Okay,
of the middle high
approve the markup draft of the handbook,
handbook.
middle high handbook for 2025 to 2026.
Yes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I
No opposed. And then going on to the main handbook. Anyone have any questions as Ren furiously scrolls down?
No. Not currently.
Okay.
It seems like there was no, it's just updates, right? No, updates and cleanups.
Yeah, there's no policy change that I could. There will be we'll do another effort to shorten it. I guess that's what we're gonna try to do.
Yeah. The intent was to be able to put it in the enrollment paperwork right now.
Yeah, which is gonna happen next week.
So I'm sure that this will come back at some point in time.
Do I have a motion?
I'll move. Yeah. Sorry. I will move to approve the 25-26 student and parent handbook.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I
No opposed. Passes. Next fun one is let's talk about posting a job.
Wait, sorry, who seconded? Ren? Was that
I
you?
did, yeah.
Sorry, I'm moving quick.
No, we're good.
I'm trying to keep us on time.
We're doing pretty good. So
I know.
Especially considering we start with budgets.
the next meeting is gonna be the real budget. We'll have all my ducks in a row.
Want to talk about this or Diana?
I made this as a way to split up these things. Diana, and a volunteer, Mark, and person and head teachers. So what we did is we just put them in the buckets. A lot of this is, what really happens already. So and then all of the financial stuff and kind of the board prep documents for a new person. And then head teachers, we talked to them about, so there was a problem with a volunteer looking at student data. So we moved that to head teachers and they agreed that they should be doing this anyways. When I did it, when I was the principal, I was the accountable person for students' performance, but then it's really those head teachers now, and they should be looking at it. And it is insightful when you start to spend time with the data. So I think it will be good. So they agreed.
Some of it's stuff they were retrieving for you anyway.
Yeah, the problem, there's a second step is compiling and analyzing, finding data. That there's some weird things that we query, which are like text strands. So it causes you have to write an Excel statement with whatever text strand is, and then you can sort for it. That's the only tricky thing. And most teachers and head teachers don't do that.
Can you ask Google AI how to do that?
Yes, you could write me a thing to query.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Another reason you don't need me. I can be replaced with AI. But all that work is still there. So,
Yeah.
I wrote the statement because they don't change the statements.
Just a matter of updating.
Yeah. The only other change I'd make, I'd recommend that you have your new person report to Diana. So you don't have multiple people reporting to the board. That's what I would do. Just in case something goes wrong. And you guys aren't involved in closed session meetings with employee issues. You
Anyone?
probably should have done that with me anyways. Yeah. Not that she can boss me around. But
You just don't think she's boss.
yeah, I try to do like 98% of what she wants. Try.
But that 2%, man.
Okay, 70%.
He's also being recorded, so.
I don't have a problem with that necessarily. I'm just looking at the list of the job responsibilities, and I don't think there's anything in there that would be it's all reporting up to the board, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like a direct oversight of doing that, right? Is anyone seeing that any differently? So essentially, if Diana is they're both our employees, but Diana would be the conduit, the main conduit to the board. This person would be facilitating all of these different things, and maybe supplying it to us directly, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that it needs to be structured in a way where we are overseeing two people. Right.
Right. Right. It would still be collaborative, somewhat similar to Mark and I's current relationship. But I mean, I don't feel like he directs me or we work very collaboratively.
Right. I guess what I'm trying to say is that if there's something that's lacking, looking over, someone who is overseeing expected work. So as a supervisor of this person, you would be expecting to make sure that they are meeting their work. And yes, that doesn't mean that they don't, that there's not a conversation with the board involved. That doesn't mean that things have to go up through you for like approval if they put together a packet for the board or whatnot. But I just want to make sure that we're not, I don't think I'm explaining myself very clearly.
No, you are, Sally. And I thought about that because I have an extreme comfortability with Mark that he's doing his job and it's somewhat hands-free. But for somebody else, I would not have that comfortability. And I would expect a different process to somebody. Yeah.
Which actually makes sense. If you're on site, then it would make sense to have that level of oversight on a day-to-day basis, I guess. So, okay, I'm just talking myself through the expected job role and what that looks like. I don't really have an issue with that structure itself. So
Mark, my only question for you, and it's not you, it's a volunteer in the organization. When you say over the top legal work, what do you mean by that? And can a volunteer be privy to the contents of a lawsuit? Because if
She'd
that's
have to let me know, but yeah, it would be student stuff. I don't know. There's just when you start to interact with the lawyer, there's just a lot of work.
oh yeah,
So you wouldn't have any recourse if I wasn't confidential. Was the problem? You could stop me from volunteering.
Could that be a special, I guess I want to say, consultation to the school that you do?
Yeah, you just don't have any money to pay for it. So,
Yeah, that's
but we could do something minimal. Yeah, so you had some. I don't know.
We could pay you $1.
There, I don't know if that's enough, but
Wow.
whoa.
not enough to.
I know what he
it's not
means.
realistic,
Right.
That you would.
$1.25 as
You
far as
wouldn't
I know.
hold nothing for it.
You probably can't change my behavior with the dog.
One of the things I would want to look into would be how our insurance and legal response would be if a volunteer is handling these kinds of things and handles something not legally or is perceived not legal and then is not a actual employee of Evergreen or the school. That would be a concern I'd have with like a volunteer being privy to that level of documentation. So I have some concerns as a volunteer position.
So how I've thought
let's take
about
it on.
this is it's a hypothetical situation. I would not ask Mark to interface with the attorney. That's not something that I feel comfortable with for any volunteer. But I think that I could use him as a sounding board, similar to what I have used for other admin that are employed in other places. Should I consult with an attorney? What do you think about this scenario? So it's more of a knowledge gathering, and I almost took this off of his task list, just wanting to hear this conversation, because I do agree. I don't think that it's within a volunteer's privy to have that.
If this was, going to a person to ask for advice where you're not sharing any personal identifying information or anything like that, then
Yes.
I don't know that it needs to be on here
Right.
as a position. I mean, as part of this, it would just be something that you do. And then if it ends up being something that further, we need more from you than just being able to give advice, then we might have to look at like a contract, like an independent contract, and how that works with the insurance and, that kind of thing. Because at that point, we're looking at consultant.
Yeah, and you're at that point, you're better off paying an attorney.
Yeah.
Oh, but
It might be cheaper. I don't know, but I'll put it, I just moved that.
okay.
I think we have what we need as far as this position of the new person, and understanding that there are some things that Mark could continue to cover as a volunteer. So there's not really an issue listing it out. I do think we can look into, I don't know that we need to wait for this in order to make a decision on this new person, but we can definitely ask our insurance. I mean, our insurance, we're responsible for any volunteer that's on our school grounds in some way or the other. And so you can write contracts. Does it have to be an independent contract? I don't know. Probably. Is payment required in order to fall under the insurance? Can you have a confidentiality agreement, for example, for specific projects? Not saying that that's where we would want to go, but I think we can ask the questions, and that might help, because there is some, you talk about the charters and the writing of the charters. While Mark is not the only individual in the universe, sorry, Mark, that is able to negotiate and write out charters, there is a fundamental historical understanding that, combined with new ideas, new minds and whatnot, there is some of that historical stuff that is really valuable when we go into writing whenever the next charter is, or an addendum. So I think we can ask the questions and see what our parameters are. I don't think that precludes us from moving forward with this position, hiring out this position. But I think it's worth finding those answers and not necessarily assuming an answer one way or the other.
Good thinking, Sally.
What's the job title for this thing? Yes.
It's still a business manager position.
Business manager, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only concern I would have, is truly 10 hours a week enough, for the core pieces of this, like preparing the budget,
Well, I think, what my opinion is that there are times when I have to work harder, but there's times when I don't have to work very much already. So,
So is it calling it $10 or 10 hours a week? Maybe not the right title, maybe,
Call it 40 hours a month.
or, yeah, something.
yeah, that's better, I just think it was good for me to come in here and be in here in the office. Not really to do this work, but to be on call if a student went sideways or they get overrun with stuff at times. So being present was important, I think, at the time, which I think is less so now.
I think it still matters. I think
It matters some, but it doesn't matter if you're a financial person. If you're not a person.
Yeah, I think it matters for just cohesiveness and staff and face to face. But when you look at this specific list of job responsibilities, it's not anything that necessarily it interacts with staff. Yes, not so much with students.
Right.
And that's neither, whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But that's just looking at the job. That's what it says to me.
Some advantage to being on site relative to when you see an expense happen. You know, for instance, wood chip showed up on the track when you weren't expecting it. That kind of thing, like where did that come from? Kind of money, that kind of thing you would see probably. So there's some advantage being on.
That was fully disclosed.
So Mark, are we asking, I guess, is the vote here, or what are you asking for?
Oh, I'm asking for approval of, I guess, this business manager position to be posted, and we'll try to hire it.
Do you need to vote for that?
You guys need to look at now and understand that Mark's basically resigning this and you have to find it. So you have to come up with a hiring process and timeline.
We have a document.
Well, timeline, I guess I would suggest of how long are you going to do this job?
Well, I'm gonna post it, and when the right person shows up, we'll.
Okay.
You have a different timeline you'd like?
No, I don't have the timeline. That's up to you and these folks.
I'm really enjoying this tonight.
So that would be part of the problem. You have to keep an eye on your boss.
I would say let's post it and see how it goes. And Mark, if the job search is lengthy, like you've said that you're willing to stick around until it's filled, and maybe it might be next week, and then we'll still keep you around.
You've left before.
I know, it's not
See both work.
the end of the world.
Come back
It's gonna
again.
be okay.
Do we need to talk about or make any decisions with it being a business manager position as far as salary versus hourly, or is that something that's decided separately, or
That's my next question, because it's not posting this, it'll be me posting it. So you have an X amount of money in your budget currently, which is a very reduced amount of money for a business manager. It's rate of pay.
Oh, no, that's not.
So is it a business manager, or is it like, and I know there are some legal terms that I don't, is it a business specialist? Is it a business,
Accounting
business administrator? Like what does that affect, does that word impact, or does the salary impact that word? And I don't have an answer for that, but just a question.
The only thing I can think of is that there's certain requirements, and I don't remember them off the top of my head, as far as like how many hours or what the level of responsibility is compared to salary. Yep, that's where I'm at. Salary is hourly. And in my opinion, in this kind of position, like what Mark was saying, there are times that you are working a lot more, you're building more budgets, you're doing more reporting. Thank you, ODE. And then there's times where it's a little quieter, and salary provides for more consistency as far as budgeting goes.
Yes.
But it could be that, I don't know, it's hourly could make it so that in the end, it would end up not being as much because not as many hours needed to be worked at that time period. So those are just the questions to think about.
Yeah, I think from how I think about it too, is a salary person, you have a basic understanding of the amount of hours they're going to work.
Mm-hmm.
An hourly person, they're required to keep a time card. And it's set at that. So, and as far as a business manager versus like Sarah Marr, this person is ultimately responsible and owning our financial health and signing the checks, paying the bill, doing all of those versus somebody just, I don't want to use the word just, but doing the data entry and whatnot. So there's a level there of responsibility associated with it to where I lean towards the salary person.
I do think this. I think this does fit salary. I'm not an expert, but I know enough about the difference between the two that it's a skill level. It's a level of making decisions. While they're called a manager, they're not managing people. But you can have that. That's not a problem. And so this is to me a salaried position, but I guess it's basically a quarter time, if that's what I'm understanding is the budget. It was looked at 10 hours a week. And so a salary position allows that, it does allow for that flexibility. And I do think that, again, you can opt for a legal opinion if you want to, but I do believe that the tasks involved here are, it's not changing from what we had with Mark, right? So I think it's fine as a salary, but it would be a quarter time FTE salary exempt position.
So there is a minimum salary requirement for the amount a person makes per week.
Yeah, there is, isn't there? What's that?
Federally.
Well,
Huh?
I think there's federal and I think there's state.
Oh,
Just my quick search is 684 per week.
684, so $2,700. Sorry, I missed the 36.
how dare you?
Am I right? I'm saying right.
That's a little bit more than what your salary is sitting at.
Carrie, give me your brain.
Well, here's a question. It sounds like, I mean, that's a pretty critical question. Would there be room for you all are meeting next week, correct? If you can get answers to those questions, and then John, if you can work with Ren on getting the answers to that question and writing out specifically what it is, there would be an opportunity for the board to approve that when you meet on Wednesday, and then you can post it. Does that sound feasible?
Exceed both of them.
On my end, yeah. I don't know what Ren's
schedule's
schedule's like, other than crazy.
I think we want to just double check all of those things. Again, I'm fairly familiar with it, but I don't know I don't know the minimum amount that can be a salaried. So I think we want to find that out and not try to put it together tonight.
Is this position, I mean, it's a year-round position, right? It's not like a 10-month position.
Right.
It's a year round. Yep.
So the minimum is 35,568 annually.
Oh, this is way under
So
20,000.
I don't think legally, we can double check this, but I don't think legally this is a position that can be salaried.
For what you have in the budget. Yeah.
Correct.
Yep. We'll double check, but yeah, if that's the case, then it'll be hourly.
Question you can ask the accountant.
Well, I'd like to ask Brianne, that's why I would ask.
Yeah, she might know.
Yeah.
Someone she would know, she would know for sure. So
Yeah.
Probably ask her,
Ask the
that's
accountant
duties
also.
test.
our accountant, yeah.
Your accountants should know that answer.
Although they're letting us do it. The auditor doesn't say a word
It's
about
true,
it
the
either.
auditor hasn't called that for you either.
Or do they just assume that you're clocking 10 hours consistently?
Well, I mean, even
That's not
10 hours
enough.
consistently isn't
It's the
enough.
wage.
it's the wage.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's un-American to not be able to work for whatever you want to work for. That's not right. Guess they need
Yeah,
their
that's
tax.
what I was
Okay,
remembering.
back
that
to
it
the
went
agenda.
up.
So
Yeah.
we'll be back
That's what I
the
was
next
getting
meeting
at,
with this.
2025.
So I've got about 5 more minutes before I need to hop over and finish a project for tomorrow. So what else is on the agenda that you need me for?
Nothing, Sally. We're just gonna review financial statements. And Ren has already taken a look at them, so we're good. and approving minutes, and then we're out of here. So feel free to hop off. I appreciate everything, Sally.
Yeah, I know I keep cutting out, but yeah, I ran out of time at my other job today. So
The one you get paid for?
the one that I get paid for, yes. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Sally.
Now,
Thanks.
I apologize. I was in Google World when you guys were coming up with the plan. I did find the information that I was looking for, and that's what I remembered is that it went up. That salary level went up to actually 58, starting July 1st. And I only know this because I went through this hiring a new employee. And so I had to check the same thing. So what was the plan? Where did we land?
So I'm going to get that printed out, get it set, and then we're going to make the decision at our next meeting next week.
58,000 full-time,
But it's salary, so it's
salary full-time.
Yeah, the amount of salary paid must meet a minimum specified amount of at least 58,656 effective January 1st, 2025. Unless and until that figure is revised upward. So the duties test is not an issue. Like you have to meet a salary test and you have to meet a duties test. The duties test is not an issue. It's executive, administrative, or professional duties.
so I believe Google. Can we ask Rihanna
Oh, absolutely.
and then come back Wednesday when she agrees with you, Ren?
This is from Sherm, by the way.
Yeah, I do remember that we have some admin that have gone up to the 58, blah, 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 whatever this year. So I know that that's Rihanna's already implemented that for 2 admin currently this year.
Yeah, I'll ask her.
But it's just
Bring
the
a
time
document.
constraint. Can you do 0.25 of that salary if they're doing the duties?
So we'll get a more firm answer and then we'll wait for a full vote when Sally's back next Wednesday. Okay, moving on to aging summary.
Okay, we're looking at books from March. There's just a little bit of money. I think this might be lunch. It's old. The amount of cash, we're holding a lot of cash because for 2 reasons, that we haven't been billed for. This is why it's not on your aging summary either, is the transportation hasn't billed us and the building hasn't billed us. The contractor is, so I did some work though.
Yeah, you did, and I talked to him today, so it's supposed to be out later this week.
We're not gonna have that much cash at the end. But we're doing well cash wise, and even I would, if we were gonna pay the payroll versus pay Falls City, I would pay the payroll. We need to pay Falls City next month, so I think we won't have that kind of crunch.
Any updates from Willamette ESD? Nothing? Like
Well,
radio silence or?
No, not complete silence. Well, not from them, but from, so the Falls City people out, there's been some, the bus manager has sent me documents to check and look at. So they're working on it.
Well, cities, I thought Willamette ESD took all that over.
Well, somebody has to submit information to Willamette ESD, and that's the bus manager at Falls City.
Okay.
So are
So
you
how
talking about transportation with Willamette ESD?
No, well, yeah, so Willamette ESD is doing all of their books, right? But
All of Falls Cities.
Cities, but.
yeah, so all the miles driven, all that stuff, and which van and which expense goes where, and what's reimbursable and what's not, they're preparing those documents, and I've reviewed them. Supposedly,
Is that
they've
because the
submitted them.
person is no longer there or?
Well, they transition people to new people, and yeah, so Falls City got rid of their finance person,
Oh,
and supposedly it's cheaper to do it with MDSD,
okay.
but they've been cash short all year, they say, and we owe them a lot of money. They haven't collected.
But they do not say that. The ESD does not.
The ESD hasn't done the work, so we'll get a bill. Don't worry about it. We'll get a bill eventually. But we will
Gonna
get
be in
dinged
this
on our
fiscal
audit.
year.
we're gonna get dinged on our audit for having too much cash.
Okay.
The school district doesn't like it. And I guess we should get a different account, but then it's always like, we're always gonna pay it, right? It's anytime now, anytime we're gonna pay it.
Then you gotta transfer it, and then there's all kinds of
Yeah,
things.
and then we have to close that account and.
Yep.
Otherwise, I don't think there's much else here to look at.
Did we get the check for that donation cashed? Did
No.
that?
In fact, they, on the bus,
Mhm.
no, she canceled it. We did get a hard estimate on 2 buses. We ran into finding one, even if we found one out of state who would do the warranty work in
Mhm,
state,
mhm.
that there was people saying, no, we're not gonna do that. And then even finding a mechanic to service an out-of-state vehicle. So we found some here in the state that the warranty work would be, and finally got to her, but I didn't get it until the end of the week, and she pulled the trigger on canceling the check at the same time frame. So the information has been submitted to her, again, with the hard estimates, and I had a conversation with her, and she was gonna think about it. She was gonna take it back to her board to see if more money for the down payment, and she was interested in seeing the finance costs. So I sent her Mark's spreadsheet that gave the interest and finance costs. She really liked the idea that her donation was going to be continued to leverage to pay for it over the 7 years. So that's something that she wasn't aware of. So
Okay.
we'll see where that goes from there. So we had never cashed the check. We had just held on to it.
Got it.
So we didn't send you John's check or Visa card statements, did we?
No.
Hmm.
There's $8,000 there. In this statement, $9,000.
I'm spending a lot of Amazon.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, we're still spending money. Statement of activity, we got paid, that was good, and we paid out in typical fashion, and it was a profitable month of 38K. In March, so across the board, if you look at the PSKV's, so Will's estimated what it will cost us every month. And he is still within $3,000 across all the months.
Wow.
However, it fluctuates between, sometimes it's like 10,000 over and 3,000 under, 1,000 over, it goes up and down. It's a lot that has to do with substitutes. There's employee that's working intermittently also.
Say
which is
subs and
weird.
hourly employees, and if there's school closures or, those things all fluctuated a little bit.
There's an employee that works intermittently, and we hire a replacement. So when that employee works, then we have more expense. So I don't know how to budget that, but that's one reason why it fluctuates. And then of course the number of days worked with all the hourly employees. And so, but anyway, Will is still in the good, he's within $3,000. That's pretty good.
Over what, a $2 million account for the whole year?
Yeah.
That's
A
amazing.
lot of payroll. So that's what's moving. There's most of these total expenditures, there's 237.
Do you need an acknowledgement or
Yeah, it's just acknowledgement.
any questions?
Not on the financial statements.
Okay.
I don't have the other stuff. The other board packet stuff is not. The budget stuff I don't have for this meeting because it'll all be in the next meeting.
So you're asking me not to ask questions.
Well, why don't you, if you want to ask about the general ledger, that would be good. But if you want to ask the detailed questions, they don't have the documents. I didn't publish any documents.
So it's also 8:45. Do you want to?
Yeah,
Do you want a pre-mark meeting before tomorrow or next Wednesday's meeting?
Yeah, believe it or not, there's not actually that much. I only have one question. And it was just for uncleared checks. So I was looking at the books for April 30th. I was looking at the statements for April 30th. And I noticed that there's a $28,000 difference between what's in QuickBooks and what's on the bank statement. So I pulled the check report and there's still, quite a bit is on there, but there still is like a $10,000 difference that isn't showing on the uncleared checks. So that's all I would.
And I don't know the answer to that.
But I figured I could just ask you, so it was.
Yeah, so I can find out.
Yeah, so it was in your noggin. Just, I'm not worried about the uncleared checks, just the $10,000 difference. And it's not on a bad side. We've got more in our bank than what we have in QuickBooks. So it's not, I would be more concerned if it was the other way around. And then I sent you some budget to actual stuff, but we don't need to go over that.
Yeah, I have all that. I didn't get a chance to work much to do.
Okay. Anyone else have anything else?
Yeah, these
Minutes.
minutes, yeah, there's two
Minutes.
sets.
Do we
One from
wanna
March 10 and one
To
from
recognize
14.
those financial.
Yes, thank you.
I will move to recognize the financial statements, reports.
They just wouldn't be seen. I'm so tired.
Do we have a second?
Do we need a second for that? I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Uh,
Aye.
Aye. No opposed. Thank you, Beth. Keeping me honest. And then we just have Beth's lovely minutes.
two sets, 310 and
Mhm.
I can't take responsibility. for
She
the April
can't, yeah,
ones.
she can't vote on those.
Someone else did that. They're quite nice.
and
Impressed.
April 14.
Mm-hmm. Was under
You guys want to
duress.
see? 'Em?
That was you, Diana?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Hear the shock.
I like this.
That's why she worked so
You just
hard
dig
at it.
yourself in.
Dun, dun, dun.
I said I was under duress.
I know, but man, I'm like, I shouldn't be taking
Oh,
minutes.
geez.
Someone else should be taking minutes. Someone else
She was
does a much
nervous.
better job.
Anyone have any questions? Anything
Well-
jump out at anyone?
I just feel like for Diana's sake, I should say that these are quite beautiful.
Mhm.
It's a bunch of learning. Believe me, I was like, I gotta do this right. Where's Beth? She's gonna be reading these things.
She was too.
You can keep going. That's all
Can I get a motion?
I move to approve the March 10th meeting minutes.
Yeah.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. One abstention.
Actually, Linda can't vote on that because it said that you were absent.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, I wasn't.
So we don't have a
absent.
quorum.
Yeah,
We're talking about March 10th.
March 10th. It says Linda was absent.
Yeah.
What was it?
No,
Present and
Linda,
absent.
oh, sorry. No, she showed
Okay,
up
thanks.
late.
Okay.
So that should be actually modified.
Did I show
Oh,
up
yeah.
late?
No, it shows board
I-
members present.
There it is right here.
Yeah.
I move to
Okay.
approve
9 minutes late.
with one revision.
So
There you go.
she was there.
I can't believe I missed one.
Start time was 6:37 and you were 2 minutes late.
2 minutes late.
There was a PTO meeting where I was doing.
I probably filled you in as absent before you showed up.
There we
Why
go.
do they show as like not present? Why do they
Good enough for you?
that I'm
Good.
not present?
Okay.